It's time to accelerate. Hi, I'm your host, Andy Paul. Join me as I host conversations with the leading experts in sales, marketing, sales automation, sales process, leadership, management, training, coaching, any resource that I believe to help you accelerate the growth of your sales, your business, and most importantly, you. Hello, and welcome to Accelerate. I'm looking forward to talking with my guest today. Joining me is Corinna Essa, president of Social Media Worldwide, an Australian company that works with companies to help them accelerate their business growth through social-based marketing. If you're a small and mid-sized business owner who thinks that they're doing everything they should to generate leads from their website and their content marketing and social outreach, but are not getting the results that you want in terms of traffic and leads, then this is the show for you to listen to today. My guest is an expert at showing businesses how to use social media to drive traffic and leads online and sell more product. And she's here to help you sort out what you need to do to make online work for you. So, Corinna, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So tell us a little bit about you, about your background.
Well, I'll tell you how I got started into the whole social media world. It started first, my dream was to become a television producer. So I studied television production for a few years, and then
This was when you were growing up in Greece.
That's right. That's right. So I grew up in Greece, and then when I turned 17, I went to university in London and studied television production, because since I was 15, my dream was get a job in television. I thought it was fascinating, the whole behind the scenes of television. And so I studied, and I was told in order to get a foot in the door, you have to work for free for a few companies. So I did that. I worked
the old internship trick.
The old internship that never ends. You think,
right.
Okay, well, 3 months to 6 months, maybe a year, but it never ends in television.
Well, yeah, and I think we're finding now in the workforce, at least in the U.S. I mean, it's people are abusing it pretty badly with companies that have people doing work for free that they normally would pay for.
I think so, and but I learned a lot, so it was a win-win, really. I learned a lot, and so right in the middle of the financial crisis, which Greece, of course, hasn't overcome yet, unfortunately, I got made redundant for the 5th time. So I was 25. It was the 5th time I was made redundant in a television company, and
for the U.S. audience, that's getting laid off. Yeah.
Yes, is that getting laid off? All right. There's different words for it. My brother always says to me, just say that you were sacked. And I'm like, okay, but it doesn't sound that good.
No, sacked. See, in the U.S., if you heard sacked, you'd think somebody got fired, for cause, as opposed to, you're just made redundant. The job didn't exist anymore.
That's right. And so the first person I called when I lost my job was my brother. I called him because I knew that there was no way I was going to find another job. Every company was downsizing, so there was no way. And if I was going to find one, it wasn't going to be immediately. And the bills kept on piling up. So when you're an employee, you can't stop working. Really, it's really it's really the rat race. Although I don't like that expression. And so I called my brother because my brother for many years was an internet business owner. And for many years, he kept on telling me that I was wasting my time working for someone else, and that I should just have my own business. That his business were doing really well. He had an ebook business. He used to sell hundreds of ebooks a day, and he always wanted me to follow that path. He thought that it was the right path for me, and I was reluctant because it didn't appeal to me, and also because I still had that dream of being a television producer. But when you have no choice, I guess you follow advice. I had nothing to lose. I called him up. I said, just lost my job, and I need help. Although as proud as I was, I actually asked for help, and he was over the moon. He says, this is the best news I've heard so far coming from you. This is great. I'm so happy that you lost your job. Come to a seminar of mine. He runs seminars in the UK about digital marketing. So he said, come to one of my seminars, you'll learn lots of things, and it will inspire you to start something for yourself. So I went there reluctantly, but as I said, I didn't have much to lose, and a few people were talking about different strategies, and one of the strategies that appealed to me was Twitter marketing. So it was, to be a bit more specific, it was affiliate marketing on Twitter. So affiliate marketing, maybe for the people who are on the call who might not be familiar with that term, is when you sell other people's products online for a commission. So I thought, well, that's a good idea. Twitter's free to join, and I don't have a product or a website. I can just grab someone's product and sell it and get a commission if I sell it. So it seemed reasonable. It seemed like something I could do. So I went ahead and implemented the strategy, and very quickly, within 3 weeks, I was making $700 a week from affiliate commissions, and I got hooked.
Right.
I got hooked, and I asked my brother, who's been my mentor and tormentor, really. I asked him, what was the next step now? And he says, well, you should teach people how you do it. Be an information marketer and have your own product and sell your strategy. So I thought, okay. So I put together a entire course about how I was doing what I was doing for $1,000. I sold about 100 units in a year. So that was great. I had never had a six-figure income ever in my life, and so I did that. And one day in Perth, actually, I was running a webinar about that strategy to a crowd in Perth, and no one bought. So the crowd was small, and I was used to having at least a 10% conversion when I would talk about my strategy. 10% of people would buy my course, and no one bought. And I was always told to always survey the audience, survey your customers, why did you buy, and survey those who didn't buy, why didn't you buy. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. So we asked, why didn't you buy? Did you like it? What was it that you liked? And everyone loved it, but they said, we just don't have time to do it, to implement it. If it was a done for you service, it would be a no-brainer. So that kind of gave my husband and I an idea about, why not put together a service where we do Twitter marketing for people so they can enjoy the benefits of being on Twitter without having to do all the legwork. So I started a done for you company. At the time, it was called D4U Social. I don't know why I called it that, but and so as I was delivering a Twitter marketing service, and as more and more customers were coming through, a lot of them were asking, do you also do Facebook? Do you also do Google Plus and all these new social networks that get launched? And so it kind of gave birth to my social media marketing agency that's now called Social Media Worldwide, and it's international because, again, initially it was for an Anglo-Saxon crowd, but then people asked us, well, do you deliver that service in French, and then do you deliver that service in Spanish? And all of a sudden we had Spanish clients and French clients, so now it's really international, hence Social Media Worldwide.
Interesting. So do you hire French speakers and Spanish speakers and so on to be on your staff? Very interesting.
That's right. Yep. So they're multicultural. They're really great social media strategists, and they're the ones who make the company so great.
So
I can't speak Spanish, but as long as they can deliver the service in Spanish, I'm happy.
So let's sort of look at sort of the problem situations a lot of companies find themselves in. So I see a lot of small businesses that I work with that have the best of intentions with social. They know it's out there. They sort of feel this imperative that they should be using it or using it more effectively, and they sort of know in theory what they should be doing, but it's not producing results. Maybe they build a website, they do a little content marketing, a little random sporadic tweeting and blogging. So, what are the biggest mistakes you see that the small, mid-sized businesses are making in their online efforts, and what should they do to fix those?
A few. I find that usually their social media presence is not aligned with their mission and their vision. I see that. So there's a bit of inconsistencies with their platform. They haven't found their voice. Are they going to be the friendly expert? Are they going to be the adventurer? So they haven't found a voice. And so that's the first mistake. The social media presence is not aligned with their mission, their vision, and they haven't found that voice. The second one is lack of of skill in a way, lack of skill, that doesn't sound good, but lack of knowledge about how social media works. So usually their social media is in the hands of someone who doesn't know much about social media. They think that it's just a set and forget thing where they just log in, post something, log out. So usually their social media is in the hands of an unqualified person. So that's the second mistake. Or worse, it's not done consistently. And usually people join social networks for the wrong reason. They join because everyone else is there and everyone's telling you to be there, so I'll join. And they join for the wrong reasons rather than have basically a specific goal, what they want to achieve with social media, and then reverse engineer what we need to do in order to achieve that goal. And no one actually does that. So not being clear, just opening social networks and social media accounts because everyone else is, and that's what you're meant to do, and it stops there. So I think that these are the main mistakes. And of course, the usual mistake that I see over and over again is treating social media the same way you would treat eBay and Amazon, where it's just a listing website. You list your products and then some people will buy. And it doesn't really work like that, because people don't go into Facebook to buy things. They
Right.
go there to be informed and entertained mainly, and nurtured. If they like your brand, they go there to get some VIP treatment. They might get, a discount coupon just because they're a Facebook fan or something.
Right.
So they get there, they go there for these reasons, and definitely not to buy anything. So I think there's been a big misunderstanding about social media. Social media is the top of the funnel. So the top of the funnel, usually I describe it as cold traffic. People don't necessarily know, like, or trust you, but they have some sort of interest, right? And so social media acts as the top of the funnel, where you turn this cold traffic into warm traffic, by giving a lot of value, giving VIP treatment, nurturing them, offering great customer service, customer support, or whatever it is that you want to offer, a lot of value, giving free things away, so that cold traffic turns into warm traffic, and eventually buyers who then become brand evangelists. So that's really the idea. But there's a lot of work to be done before that happens. And not a lot of people put that time and effort into doing that.
So let's talk about those. You use the word brand evangelist. I think it's a great word. Sort of the end product. Right before they become a customer, they start and making that transition to a brand evangelist. So, what are sort of the steps in terms of nurturing? For people to say, okay, well, how do I use Facebook, let's say, to not in a paid, paid Facebook ads, but in a organic sense. How do I use that then to sort of move people through the funnel?
Well, it starts with giving a lot of great value. So, I'll give my example. For example, I'm a social media agency, and I will give the best social media strategies away on my Facebook page. I'll put a blog out, and then I'll share the blog on my Facebook page and Twitter profile. So, giving away your best things. Now, if you don't have anything to give away for free unless it's a product, then run competitions and say, look, you're about to, if you do this and that and make it playful, then you can win something worth $1,000. So if you can give information or value for free, then give a product. And always nurturing that relationship, always giving. And another way is getting the customers or the prospects to be part of the brand. And big companies do that. They get their prospects and customers involved in their brand. So let's say there's a candle company called Diamond Candles. They sell scented candles, and so they were asking their audience on Facebook, and they've built a big audience for free thanks to competitions. Give us a scent of a candle that you'd like us to create, and and the one who wins we will actually create that scent. And so again, the customer or the prospect doesn't get to win anything, but they love being part of the decision making. They love being part of the brand, and that's another great way to nurture without actually giving anything for free.
Right.
That would imply an upfront cost. So there are many ways, and these are some of the main ones. Always nurturing, and I like when companies share stories of their customers. So let's say you're I don't know, you're a dentist, and you straighten people's teeth because you put braces, and sharing the story of someone who loves their smile now or something like that. So always sharing the stories of your customers. People actually love that because they can relate to them rather than a company always pushing their products, pushing their agenda. People like to see brands that have been humanized. They like humanizing brands, seeing the people behind the brand. So showing pictures of the team, showing pictures of a birthday being celebrated at the office, or things like that humanize the brand. So there are many ways, but when you combine all of these, it does a great job.
One of the things you talked about, just saying if people didn't want to write something, but the fact is to be able to have valuable content to share is you don't necessarily have to write. I mean, the great thing about the internet is there's content out there that's already written that you can share, that's relevant and valuable to your prospective customers.
Absolutely. You can curate content, and we do a lot of that. If there's things that we see about social media we find interesting and that we want to share with our audience, we'll do that. And sometimes our own audience create content. They'll submit a comment or a post or something, or resource that they found interesting. So you can also use your audience to create the content for you.
Yeah, and I think that's right. I just want to reinforce that before we move on. I think it's really important for people in the audience who are listening that, thinking about, gosh, I don't have time to write a blog. I don't have time to create this content. Is, you can't, the customers are going to think less of you if you're curating content from another source. What they're going to remember is that you're the one that found it and provided it to them.
Absolutely. Curated content and your own content performs just as well. It's just about the topic. So they don't care whether you wrote it, your company produced it, or someone else, as long as it's something useful that you're sharing with them. So absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, on that note, we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back again after the break with my guest, Corinna Essa. Hi, this is Andy. I've worked with thousands of sales reps to teach them how to use my zero-time selling to boost their productivity and transform their results. Now, if you would like to learn proven strategies to become the difference maker in your sales, to help you open more doors, have more effective sales conversations with prospects, and close more orders, then my zero-time selling interactive training system is a fit for you. Now, I have a special offer for you today. Act now to take a no-obligation, free trial of my zero-time selling interactive online training. It's incredibly simple to start. Just take out your cell phone now and text the word TRUST, that's TRUST, to 96,000. Now, you have your smartphone ready? You're going to send a text to 96,000, that's a 9 and a 6 followed by 3 zeros. Now enter the single word message, TRUST, and hit send. And you'll hear right back from me with instructions on how to sign up for your free trial of my zero-time selling interactive training. All right, welcome back with my guest today, Corinna Essa, who's president of Social Media Worldwide, an Australian company that helps companies accelerate their business growth through social-based media marketing. So, all right, we're talking about sort of the mistakes companies make, things they can do to sort of get started. It's funny, it's a lot of people sort of confuse their website with being social. When they talk about generating leads and traffic, it's like, yeah, I've got a great website. That's all I need. But that's not the case, right?
Yeah, well, that's again a mistake. A website, I'm not a big fan because it doesn't do anything, and people think it does. It's just a glorified business card most of the time, and usually it's like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. In order to get your website to be alive, you need a lot of traffic. You need at least 400 visitors a day to make it worth it, really. So that's why people put so much emphasis in their website, and everything gets delayed because the website is not ready, when really it doesn't play such a big part in the whole process, first of all. And it's always a work in progress. People say to me, I'll be on social media once my website is ready. I say, your website will never be ready because it's always a work in progress anyway. So I always say that. I get some really disgruntled looks when I say that, but it is true, and people delay the whole process until they have that perfect website, and then they get so disheartened because they don't get any traffic to it. I think that putting more time into the traffic strategies is more important than the website itself. People don't care about a pretty website. They want something that will help them solve their problem. So it's basically is what I teach when I teach my social media strategies is trying to shift how people think about websites.
And shift it to.
Shifted to put more time and effort into social media and traffic generation in general than your website because people spend way too much money. I know people who spend $50,000 on their website
Right.
and it hasn't produced anything. And it can't because if you don't have traffic, it will never produce anything. So it's more important to put time and money and effort into traffic and sales funnels than an actual website, which is basically a website. It's just, as I said, a glorified business card. It's just, yeah, an online version of your business card with a bit more detail.
Right. And so for people that are listening, people understand in the abstract what a sales funnel is because they've got maybe a sales team that's out there. But in the term when the way you used it, there's a very specific meaning for it, which is, getting people into a nurture campaign that's going to result in them purchasing for something from you. So
Yeah.
explain how that works, maybe with your social media. How do you get people in the funnel? How you continue to nurture them through to the point where, as you talked about, they really become a brand ambassador for you.
Yeah, so it's usually the best way to accelerate the whole process of getting an audience because first you need to have an audience in order for that audience to become traffic who will actually click on your links and things like that. So the first thing is putting a lot of value there. So adding content to your social media. So pictures, videos, focus on that. Even if you've got zero audience members, just make it look like it's been there for a while, right? And you're consistent with your content there. And then I would say spend a bit of money. Usually you don't need more than maybe $300 to $500 into getting an audience, right? So you can get with $300, $500, you can get an audience of maybe 2,000 people. So spend a
So
bit
you're
of
saying
money.
buying a list, you mean?
No, buying fans and let's say Twitter followers. So by buying fans, I mean putting together Facebook ads that will get people to like your page. So advertising the page or your Twitter profile to get people to follow it, or if we're talking about Facebook, people to like your page.
Mm-hmm.
So that will get you maybe $300, $500, depending on your industry, your niche, your targeting, will get you about 2,000 people. So you've got something to work with. And then that audience, the more you nurture them, the more they'll share your content. And when they share your content, really what they're doing is they're building your audience for you because they're leveraging their contacts. When you think about it, every social media user has on average 140 contacts. So people have on average 140 friends on Facebook, on average 140 followers on Twitter. So if you have a list of 2,000 people on your Facebook page, that means that potentially each one of them can talk about you to their 140 contacts. So it starts growing organically once you reach that 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
2,000 audience members, then these audience members can build your audience for you without you having to fork out large sums of money for audience building. And then you nurture them, and then as I said before, you get them to experience the top of your funnel. So the top of the funnel usually starts with a free giveaway in exchange for the name and email. So you'll give something away for free. Let's say it's 5-part DVD set of some sort, and you give that away for free. They submit their name and email in order to claim it, and then you start nurturing them and upselling them through email marketing, or if you've grabbed their phone numbers, through SMS marketing, direct mail marketing. So that's what I mean by being the top of the funnel.
Mm-hmm.
You get their name and email, and then it's the rest of the process that will handle the whole transition from cold traffic to a buyer who then comes back to social media and says, I bought this product, it's amazing, and becomes a sales evangelist.
And so for business owners, how do they make that financial trade-off between hiring in a resource that can do this versus using a consultant to help them with this? It's to me, I look at it as a business owner, I'd say for myself, gosh, I'd have a tendency to hire experts in because it's a faster way to get results as opposed to bringing somebody on board and onboarding them. But what do you see as sort of best practice?
For the best practice for a business owner when it comes to social media?
Yeah.
Definitely hire someone who knows what they're doing. So the main mistake a lot of small business owners do, not so much bigger ones, but small business owners do, is they think they're smart saving money. So they'll get the receptionist to do their social media, or they'll get someone else, the admin lady or something, and they think they're smart. They're saving $500 a month paying a social media strategist to do it for them, but really it's costing them. It's costing them time. It's costing the person doing it time for no results. You're better off hiring someone who's done it before, who's done it 100 times, who knows what they're doing. Everything they do is strategic, and forking out $500, but that $500 is going to bring you $2,000. Because what really you're paying, when you're paying $500, you're not only paying for the service, because anyone can post and interact. Anyone can do that, but you're paying really for the skill, the education, and the consistency. If you're giving it to your admin person who's got, a task list of 100 things, the priority they have is social media. So it won't be that consistent and that strategic. So I think that the best practice would be to hand over your social media to a skilled person with experience. Like anything, it's the same thing. Like, you wouldn't have surgery done by an amateur. You would have it done by a doctor who's got years of experience, knows what they're doing. So it's this. I mean, it's crazy that I'm comparing that with surgery, but I always try to illustrate my point. You wouldn't do that. You would put it in the hands of a person who knows what they're doing, and it should be the same with social media, because social media can really be one of the biggest source of leads and traffic for your company. So so why save money on something that could bring so much more?
Right. Okay. Well, great. So great information. We're going to stop there, and we're going to move on to the last segment of the show, where I've got some standard questions I ask my guests. And the first one takes a little bit of thought, and then after that, they're sort of rapid fire questions. So are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So you're an experienced entrepreneur, so this would be an easy one for you to answer. Is a hypothetical scenario. You've been hired as a new sales leader at a company whose sales have stalled, and they need to be turned around quickly. So your first week on the job, what are the 2 things you would do that would have the biggest impact?
Well, first I would try to understand what has happened. I would try to understand the why. Why have the sales stalled? So I would do some research. I would ask the salespeople, the existing salespeople. I would look at the product, and I would probably interview, get information from customers. What happened, and they started ordering less, or they went to a competitor. And I would basically try and understand the why, and based on that, I would make some changes. It could be that the target audience has changed. I mean, that's rare, but it could be that. It could be that there's another competitor that's doing something smarter. So I would try and figure out what they're doing and try to outsmart them. It could be like the product is not sexy anymore. It used to be. It's not part of a trend, and I would advise that they spend time in research and development to figure out, well, how do you make that product sexy again? So I guess the first thing I would do is understand the why and reverse engineer based on that. So by asking the salespeople initially, and the customers.
Got it. Good answer. All right. So some rapid fire questions. So when you're out selling, what's your most compelling sales attribute?
I guess it's my knowledge of the topic. So I when I'm selling one-on-one or one-to-many, if I'm at a conference, it's really because I'm not a salesperson. I don't necessarily enjoy selling. I've never been trained in selling. No one has given me any techniques or tricks.
That's probably to your benefit.
Oh, has it? Okay. Thank you. Because it was something that never interested me. It's not something that I wanted to improve as a skill, because sales is not really something I wanted to do myself personally. I have great people doing that for me. So, but when I was selling, it was mainly my knowledge of the topic. So I was, in a way, mesmerizing people by informing them, and people love learning new things. So I could tell them, I could share with them, the latest traffic strategies or the latest tricks that no one knows, only the big corporates are doing, and I know what it is, and I can do it, and it brings a lot of results and things like that. So when I teach these things, the sale becomes natural. for me, because it's a social media marketing agency, it's like, oh, I don't have time because no one has time. Can you do it for me? So the sale is almost natural. I don't even have to ask for the sale. I just teach people, educate them, and you get people hooked. You never get interrupted. Usually, when you sell something, usually you'll be interrupted by an objection or someone, the prospect will try and challenge you intellectually. But here, I'm lucky enough it doesn't happen because I make sure that I'm always ahead of the game when it comes to social media marketing. I know things before anyone else does. So I think that's has given me a competitive advantage. And I train the sales representatives to be the same. You're there. You're not a salesperson. You're, a social media strategist who knows things that can really turn their business around, and you know things that no one else knows or very few people in the world know. So your knowledge is power. So that's why the consultants do so well, because they're not there as salespeople. As soon as you show up as a salesperson with your little brochure, or now it's an iPad or whatever it is now, and your business card, the sales guard goes up. Whereas if you go there and tell them, let me educate you for 10 minutes or 15 minutes of your time, because people's time is precious. I'll educate you. Worst case scenario, you leave with a bunch of knowledge you never had. Worst case scenario, and people get open to it. It's a win-win, and the law of reciprocity kicks in. You spend 15 minutes of your time or 30 minutes transferring your knowledge that's cost thousands to get to someone in 15 minutes. And then the law of reciprocity kicks in. Usually, it's even subconscious. People will buy from you because they feel worst case scenario, they owe you one almost,
Well,
and that's
yeah,
that's really
sometimes,
how
I think what you've done is you're saying, like, look, you've given me your time, I've given you value in return. So, they're willing to give you more of their time, which could be leading to getting an order because they know if they talk to you, they're going to learn something that's valuable for them.
Absolutely.
All right. So next question is, who's your role model for business?
I've got many, and they change from year to year as I evolve. I guess the usual one. It will sound cliche, but Steve Jobs, just because he really had a mission and vision, and he knew how to get A players together, and just his skill of getting A players together, and these A players were aligned with his mission and his vision. And he was so focused on the product rather than the sales. A lot of people, when you start a business, you're so obsessed with sales, you forget about the product and the customer experience. And he wasn't. He never fell into that trap. I don't think he did. He was always focused on putting in the hands of people the best technology for them to experience the best experience. So for me, it's been it's been a role model. Just because of that, he was different. He did things a bit differently, and he didn't fall into the trap of just let's sell a bunch of these. No one cares about the user experience or anything. They just sell a bunch and get a $1 billion evaluation. Instead, it was more about, well, how can we make this product great? And I like that, and it's always in the back of my mind as well.
Okay, so what one book would you recommend that every small business owner, or small business chief marketing officer read about social media?
About social media, there isn't really, because social media changes all the time. So, as soon as you've got a social media book in your hands, you know that most of the information is obsolete. Just because it changes all the time. Something that worked last week will not necessarily work now. So I wouldn't really say in order to learn social media, grab a book. I would say go and test a few things and learn from testing and trying things and seeing what other people are doing right now and what works for them, what doesn't, and model that. That's more what I would say to them. In terms of a book that I've really enjoyed is Changing the Channel. So it's a book about using different forms of marketing and advertising. And for me, it's interesting. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to marketing. So it's about not using just one marketing channel, but all of them, and how to make them work together. So I would say Changing the Channel, if you're interested in growing your business, is definitely a book to read.
Okay. So last question for you is, what's the one question you get asked most frequently by prospects?
can you review my social media profile? They ask me, they always ask me to look at their social media accounts and tell them what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, and things like that. So that's the main question I get. Basically, I'm like the social media doctor. Do this, remove that, forget about this, try this. So that's what I get to do a lot of my time when I speak to people.
All right. Well, I was going to ask you that question myself. So anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today. My guest has been Corinna Essa. Corinna, how can people find out more about social media worldwide?
Well, I would say if you want to find out more in general about social media, definitely check out our blog. We put training there every week. So the blog is socialmediaworldwide.com/blog. And there's plenty of resources there. The latest ones, of course, because we update it every week, about how to really accelerate your business thanks to social media. So socialmediaworldwide.com/blog.
All right. Excellent. Well, good. Well, thank you for joining me. And remember, friends, make it a part of your day every day to deliberately learn something new to help you accelerate your success. And subscribing to this podcast is an easy way to do that, because then you'll make sure you don't miss any of our conversations with top experts like our guest today, Corinna Essa, who share their expertise about how to accelerate the growth of your business. So thanks for joining us, and until next time, this is Andy Paul. Good selling, everyone. Thanks for listening to the show. If you like what you heard and want to make sure you don't miss any upcoming episodes, please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher.com. For more information about today's guest, visit my website at andypaul.com.